Thanks for joining me on episode 490 of the Inspired Stewardship Podcast.
I'm Mario Pareca from 10 Minute Mindset, the podcast. I challenge you to invest in yourself, invest in others, develop your influence, and impact the world by using your time, your talent, and your treasures to live out your calling. Having the right inspiration to set your mindset on the right path is key. And one way to be inspired to do that is to listen to this, the Inspired Stewardship Podcast with my good friend, Scott Mader.
But the most important thing that you can do is become aware of these influences. As you become conscious of how you interact with other people and how that affects what you do, what you say, what you think around your time, your talent, and your monies, you can begin to be more conscious and deliberate in choosing.
Welcome and thank you for joining us on the Inspired Stewardship Podcast. If you truly desire to become the person who God wants you to be, then you must learn to use your time, your talent, and your treasures for your true calling. In the Inspired Stewardship Podcast, you will learn to invest in yourself, invest in others, and develop your influence so that you can impact the world.
In today's episode about developing your influence through stewarding your treasures, I talk with you about how you influence your friends when it comes to money, how your friends influence you when it comes to money, and what you can do about it.
As we talk about stewarding your treasures, wouldn't it be great if you could support this podcast and do it without costing yourself an extra dime? Turns out you can. All you have to do is use inspiredstewardship.com/Amazon when you're ready to make a purchase via Amazon, and a small commission will come back to support the show. If you enjoy the show when you're ready to buy from Amazon, just use inspiredstewardship.com/Amazon.
So this week, as we've been looking at gratitude and Thanksgiving and friendship, we've been talking about how friendship can affect your time. And yesterday we talked about how it affects your talent. And today we're going to talk a little bit about how it affects your treasures. You know, the truth is the friends you keep does affect your money. And it affects it a number of different ways. It's not just about how do you spend money on your friends? Do you go out for entertainment? Do your friends encourage you to go out and spend money or to go into debt or to do things that perhaps you wouldn't otherwise do? You know, like go out to eat or other things that take money. Sure, that's a way that your friends influence how you spend money, but it's more than that. It's also, how is their attitude about money? Do you hang out with people that look at debt as normal? Do you hang out with people that look at having a car payment as normal? But it's also this kind of keeping up with the Joneses mentality. See, the interesting thing is about money, no matter how much you have, there's always someone that has a little bit more. And more often than not, we compare ourselves to that person that has more as opposed to looking at the people that have as much or less. We do this weird comparison thing. I have a friend that makes a very large amount of money each and every month. He has several businesses that he owns and he gets money from those and a couple of different things that he does. And he makes in excess of 6 figures a month. If you think about that, he's making $1 million+ in income every single year. He's got plenty of money saved for retirement. He's got plenty of money in various accounts, and he seems like he should have more than enough money to do everything that he wants to do. But the truth is, he stresses out about things like not being able to buy his own private plane. See, the truth is that the comparisons that we make are always there. No matter how much you make, no matter how much money you have, no matter how rich or how poor, it's always easy to look at it and just think about that one more thing. You know, the old joke is, how much car is too much car for a Christian to safely buy? And the answer is $3,000 more than whatever your car is worth. because we do it with a comparison. We don't actually look at things in terms of money or ratios or what people are doing with it. We look at it as a comparison. And that's what happens with our friends. We compare ourselves to them, and what they do and say and how they act becomes our normal. Our attitude about money is caught from our parents, from our friends, from the people that we surround ourselves, from our culture. But our friends are a huge influence. So if your friends normalize certain behavior when it comes to money, that's going to be normal. But the converse is true as well. You influence your friends. And just like when we talked about on time, that just because someone doesn't have a certain amount of money or perhaps behaves badly with money, it doesn't mean you have to cut them out of your life. But it does mean you need to be conscious of the fact that they're going to influence you, and you have a chance to influence them. You need to have those conversations. You need to be okay with talking about money, not in a comparison way, not in a look at me and see how great I am way, but in a way that begins to teach and educate and uplift. You have to look at it as a non-competitive thing, but you look at it as more of a stewardship thing. How are you taking care of your money and your other resources? How are you interacting with people in a way that makes their life better? So you and your friends influence each other all the time. You do it in every single way. As you've been spending time with friends and family over this Thanksgiving holiday, recognize the fact that they are influencing you. You're going to do and say things that you might normally do. But, overall, we've talked about different things you can do to begin to control this. And sometimes it's a matter of surrounding yourself with the right people, choosing the right friends. Sometimes it's a matter of actually speaking into their life. But the most important thing that you can do is become aware of these influences. As you become conscious of how you interact with other people and how that affects what you do, what you say, what you think around your time, your talent, and your monies, you can begin to be more conscious and deliberate in choosing what you do. Instead of just observing and then reacting, you can insert thinking. You can begin to plan more. And then you can make decisions about your priorities, and you can make decisions about what you're going to allow to influence you and what you're not going to allow to influence you. You can become more conscious of those influences. The truth is, the influence will always be there. You can't get rid of it completely. But as you become more conscious of it, you have a better chance of making really good decisions and then executing on those decisions and actually following through. It's one of the reasons that coaching can be so helpful, because it gives you somebody in your corner who's not emotionally invested in everything that's going on in your life. Because the truth is, no matter what's going on in your life, there's always a new level and a new devil that comes along. There's always a new influence. And what you can do about it is become conscious, become aware, and then develop the systems and processes to take control of your life. And that's what you have to do to really take control of how your friends influence your money. Thanks for listening.
Thanks so much for listening to the Inspired Stewardship Podcast. As a subscriber and listener, we challenge you to not just sit back and passively listen, but act on what you've heard and find a way to live your calling. If you like this episode on the stewardship of treasures, you can sign up for our treasures tips by going to inspiredstewardship.com/treasures or text in the U.S. 44222 treasures tips. And we'll send you 5 weeks of our best tips on stewarding your treasures. Until next time, invest your time, your talent, and your treasures. Develop your influence and impact the world.